I'm pretty bullish on gold. For brief history, turned bullish on gold in late 2018, early 2019. And In my August 2020 newsletter, I got more near-term cautious on it. I said basically my bullishness has shifted to Bitcoin in the near term, and that I think that gold had played out the first part of its kind of run here, but I was still kind of long-term bullish. And then for full, in March 2021, I started to get bullish again, which was kind of a false start, right? So, I mean, analysts like to talk about their wins. I mean, sometimes things don't work out the way I expected. So gold, I started to see signs of a breakout, and instead it just kind of rolled back over and kept going sideways. So it didn't have like a breakdown either, just kind of continued its sideways trend. And then starting a couple weeks ago, I started to see a second attempt here at a gold breakout, and I think this one probably has more legs to it. I'm starting to see it confirmed in price. And so, for example, with a declining PMI, basically risk off of environment, gold kind of finally has its chance to kind of decouple from S&P 500 to the upside. And so that combination of decelerating economy, and if the Fed indeed is unable to be as hawkish as is currently priced in, that could be a bullish catalyst for gold. And so overall, I do think it's a positive risk reward here. In addition, we're seeing just price confirmation. The S&P 500 priced in gold has been rolling over, and giving some pretty bullish signals in gold's favor. So I think that as a defensive play, as part of a portfolio, I am bullish on gold for 2022.
Okay. If I could just jump in here too, there's one other thing I'd like to mention about gold is I love to compare gold with the inflation periods that we're in now versus the 70s and 80s. And what's fascinating is that in the early 70s, before that high inflation hit, gold had this beautiful run from about $50 to $175. And in 1975, when inflation was roaring in the US, gold actually had this period of consolidation that lasted 1 to 2 years. Now, by the late 70s, 77 or so, you started to have a mega move where gold went from about $100 all the way up to about 800 or so. So just keep in mind that a lot of people have said, well, you have inflation at 8%. Why isn't gold ripping to the upside? Well, there's a certain amount of price action that it takes for that metal to get the money flow to go in and start chasing it higher. And it's absolutely, in my opinion, replicating the price action from the 70s into the 80s.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I agree, and it's hard to have gold rally a ton when other risk assets are rallying as too, because you can say, well, why would I buy gold when I can just buy the S&P 500? That's going straight up too. And so it's really once the other things start to encounter weakness, that people can look around and say, well, what's doing well? And one of them is, I think, in this declining PMI environment, is gold.
Gareth, you have said that gold will be the best performer of 2022. I'd like to hear your rationale for this.
So it's looking at a couple things. Number one, being a technical chartist, that's the chart is the first thing I go to, right? And you look at the chart, you had this mega run from 2018 in gold all the way to the highs in 2020. And since then, you've stayed in the upper range. I mean, even though, so many people have said, oh, gold hasn't done anything, it's dead. But really what it's doing is digesting that move from the lows of 2018 to 2020. So that digestion period is looking like it's coming to a close. We're borderline breakout, short-term breakout here on the chart. And I think, again, you have a situation where Bitcoin and cryptos are now entering a bear market. It makes them less attractive. I think money, in 2021 flowed away from gold into cryptocurrencies because it was the hot place to go. Now people are starting to realize that at this stage of their existence, they're not really a protection against inflation or anything else. So I think that puts the onus back on gold to be a better performer. So again, between charts and just looking at what is going on, I think you have a very good bull case for gold. And overall, remember, I'm thinking that gold will be the best performer. But to be the best performer, when I'm thinking that the NASDAQ, S&P, and Bitcoin are down for the year, it doesn't also say it has to do a whole lot, maybe even just stay here or go a little bit higher. But I ultimately do think it's at least going back to the 2020 highs and possibly as high as about 2,600 by year end.
Okay. Both of you have talked about gold as a store of value. Is cash better than gold? I'll start with you, Gareth.
Not for me. So cash isn't better than gold for me. Obviously a well-diversified portfolio is important. And I think it's important to have some cash on the sidelines, right? And most investors don't understand that when you have cash on the sidelines, it actually allows you to take advantage of great opportunities, right? If you're all invested, what are you going to do when the next great opportunity pops up? And we don't know when that will be. So having some cash, yes. But overall, if I had to choose between cash and gold, I would go with gold.
Lyn, do you like cash?
I don't disagree at all. I think basically gold is primed for this year, I think. But everything's probability weighted, right? So you could have gold surprise the downside. There's a lot of catalysts that can affect it. And so I do think that having some cash as well is useful. There are some kind of liquidity shocks that you could have where cash would outperform gold for periods of time that you could then rotate into either gold or other assets that declined in that risk-off period.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.